welcome to another book review episode of Solidarity Sister with Kristen Wilson. This week, I listened to about 7 books. I really need some new authors for that fluffy books category. These are the books that entertain and they might uplift, but they're not going to go too deep. These books are the secret to keeping me on task with the jobs in my life that my brain doesn't want to do, like anything housework related. It's one of the best ADHD hacks that I've found. If you have any ideas for authors that I might not have checked out, please contact me on social media. You can find me at the Solidarity Sister podcast on Facebook and solidaritysister.kristenwilson, KristinWilson on Instagram, and you'll find those in the show notes. So for the non-fluffy book reviews of this week, Wellmania by Brigid Delaney is the memoir of a longtime journalist who spends her years deep diving into all facets of the wellness industry. First of all, I want to say that she has a delightful accent, so it was good to listen for that. From a 100-day fast to wellness retreats to cleanses to yoga to beauty treatments, therapy, and more, Brigid spends some of her days drinking and eating and living to excess, and other days working to course correct and chase what seems to be a somewhat elusive feeling of wellness and contentment. She gets there for short periods, but it's interesting to just see her journey and her evolution. I did relate to the ups and downs of her whole progression, as that is life. We do have ups and downs. We have times when we're really making choices that help us to feel better and times when we're kind of falling out of that. And as I listened to Brigid's journey, I could relate to that. I think some of those pieces, the meditation, the connection to ourselves, to our community, and to divinity, can provide that centering that we need. And so those pieces really resonated. But sometimes this quest for wellness turns to vanity and an emptiness that really can't be filled with the latest and greatest trend. And I think I could see that also in this memoir. There is some language in this book for those who have a sensitivity to that. Would I recommend Wellmania? It was worth the read for me, and I would recommend it to the more voracious readers. However, if you only read a handful of books per year, I would probably pass on this one, as there are others I would give a higher recommendation to. Months ago, I got on the wait list through my local library for Counting the Cost, which is Jill Duggar's memoir. My turn came up this week. I have a large family by today's standards with 8 kids, but I cannot even fathom birthing 19 kids. That simply blows my mind. I can't even wrap my brain around it. Like many others, I found the Duggars to be fascinating. And I really appreciated learning about Jill's perspective. She does a beautiful job presenting the truth of her own life experience without sugarcoating and also without sensationalizing. She makes space to share about the things that were good for her growing up, and also is honest about some of the frustrating and hurtful experiences that she's had in her family, especially as related to the way the filming of the show changed things and the complicated nature of dealing with finances and other issues with control with her dad and issues with her brother Josh. I'm sure that some people would say that she was capitalizing on her Duggar fame with this book, but having listened to it in her own voice, I just don't think that this is the case. Jill Duggar was thrust in the public eye by her parents and the TLC network when she was still just a kid. Her story has been being told in all the years since, but not in her own words and not according to her own truth. I think this book was her opportunity to set the record straight. I applaud her for working to heal from the things that were difficult in her life and to learn how to communicate and hold boundaries in very healthy ways. I'm glad I listened to this one, and I would definitely recommend it. Other books I listened to were more of the fluffy variety, some more cozy mysteries, and also a beach read called The Summer Seekers by Sarah Morgan. This one had a beautiful storyline, and I really loved seeing the healing that happened between a mother and daughter and also a husband and wife when they were able to really see the other person in the relationship more clearly. When we seek to know someone's story, I just think it's so much easier to love them. Mother Teresa said that when you judge someone, you have no time to love them. And I think that we do that sometimes, even in our closest relationships. We stop seeing people with a curiosity and with an observing mindset, getting to really know what's driving them. And we turn into this more judger mode, which kind of goes back to one of my earlier book reviews about change your questions, change your life, and that judger versus learner mode. And I think in this book, you could really see that when the characters turned to learning about each other and trying to figure out like how they became the way they were, it led to just way more beautiful and fulfilling relationships and a closeness that hadn't been there before. I loved the reminder in this book too that healing is always possible. It wasn't quite as G-rated as a lot of my reads, so be forewarned if you are a sensitive reader. But I also wouldn't say that this was like a spicy read by any stretch. This is a book that I would recommend overall. Our first Solidarity Sister Book Club Zoom meeting is this Thursday, February 22nd from 7 to 7:30 p.m. We'll be discussing the preface and the introduction about wholehearted living of Brené Brown's Gifts of Imperfection. See the show notes for the form to join. I would love to have you join us on this journey over the next 15 weeks as we read this book together. If you can't come every week, that's okay. Come when you can. But I would just love to have you be part of that. So come and join us. Thank you for being part of the Solidarity Sister community. We needed you.